Hi, my name is Patti Goodall, and I'm a co-founder of the Virginia Breast Cancer Foundation, and I'm very pleased to be here. I was asked to provide some background information about the foundation and how it was started, and since I'm one of the co-founders, I can tell you that. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in 1991, and I show this picture when I do presentations, and this is my family before, and this is my family after. And so if you've ever been through this experience, I don't think I need to tell anybody how traumatic it is and how devastating to you and your family, your entire family, all your friends. And when I was being treated at Medical College of Virginia, that's what we called it at the time, and when I was diagnosed, Dr. Baer said, let's get in touch with Sherry Kohlenberg, and she was another young woman at MCV who had also been diagnosed. She had a young daughter. My children were like 3 and 5 at the time, and this is Sherry. And so I called her and when I got out of the hospital, and we chatted, and then we met. I also worked at MCV at the time, so we would see each other for lunch quite often. And she encouraged me to come to the MCV support group for women who'd been diagnosed with breast cancer. And I have never really been a very touchy-feely type of person, and I was like, I really don't want to go to a support group and listen to people like whining about why did this happen to me and all of that. I just wanted to deal with it, but because Sherry seemed really knowledgeable and nice, I went. And interestingly, she was in the same clinical trial as me, and she was finishing up her round of chemotherapy, and she actually died 2 years later. And so that's one of the reasons why the foundation started, because we don't know why. Why am I still sitting here, 22 years later, and why is Sherry dead? Why did she die, and why did I survive? So that's probably the most fundamental reason why we started the foundation. I walked into the support group. It was not a bunch of women sitting around whining, and they were very knowledgeable. They were reading journal articles. They were talking about, can I have children after a diagnosis of breast cancer? They were talking about genetics, because there were 2 sisters there who had both been diagnosed, and their mother had died from breast cancer, and then some other relatives as well. So I thought, wow, these women are really on top of things. And I had a bad reaction to chemotherapy, and I ended up in the hospital again. And I was watching, I believe it was Good Morning America, in my hospital bed, and this woman named Eleanor Pred came on, and she started talking about how she was organizing a Mother's Day rally at their state capitol, and it was for breast cancer awareness. And so of course I kind of perked up, and I said, whoa, what's this all about? And as a child of the 60s and 70s, I'm always interested in being an activist, so I like this idea of, she had been diagnosed like 20 years prior, and she said she was very angry that there hadn't been any progress made in how this disease was being treated. They really didn't know much more about it, and she was mad. So I could kind of relate to that, and I think anybody who's been diagnosed, that's part of what you go through too. So I actually, when I got home, I looked her up in the phone book, I think, or information, and I got her phone number, and I called her, and she was very excited to hear that somebody wanted to start something in Virginia. So initially I went to the support group, and I thought, they're just going to think this is wacky. This was in February, and of course Mother's Day is in May, and I said, hey you guys, I saw this woman on TV, and I was thinking, maybe is anybody interested in doing a Mother's Day rally? And everybody said yes, everybody. And we pulled it together. It was just quite amazing in just a couple of months' time. We hardly knew each other. But we had speakers there, we had, you know, doctors and nurses, but most importantly, we had the press. We had it wasn't called the Richmond Times-Dispatch then, but we had a reporter there, and we had a notice in the paper about it. So we kind of figured, you know, we can do this. We could start something like this in Virginia to raise awareness, to demand more money for research, and to just be the voice for Virginia women who are affected by breast cancer. And over the years, there were five women who were co-founders, so I'm one of five. Over the years, we've had a lot of different people join the organization, not just women with breast cancer. We've had husbands join. We've had people who have had friends who've been diagnosed and so forth. So really, there's probably nobody anymore who doesn't know someone who's been diagnosed with breast cancer. And it still is, we still don't have all the answers. There have been a lot of changes made and a lot of progress. But even in the early days, here's our very first bumper sticker. Sherry's brother did this for us. He's from Wisconsin. And it's very simple: support breast cancer research. And that's what we wanted at that time, and that's what we still want. We want to put an end to breast cancer. And, you know, our tag is educate, advocate, eradicate. And that's our bottom line. So I hope that anybody who is watching this or listening to this, that if you are a Virginian, or even if you're not, if you would like to join the organization, I certainly encourage you to do so. I'm very proud of it, 22 years later, and we continue to do very good work, very good advocacy, and I'm just very proud of us. So thank you. And this is our first brochure. Okay.
Thank you.
How was that?